actor Matt Reeves. And actor Andy Serkis. We have 20 minutes, and we'll start with Sandra.
What do you each remember about the first time you saw the original Apes movie with Charlton Heston, and how did that experience impact your enthusiasm to come aboard the franchise?
You guys are all much older than me. I obviously wasn't alive.
You weren't even a twinkle.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I can't. I mean, really, you look back, and I can't imagine the sort of childhood without Planet. You know, I was 9, 10 when the first one came out. So, you know, it's not only the opportunity to work with these good people, but you're also being asked to be part of cinema history. So it's you know, that was above and beyond the story and Matt, and you know, you're involved with something that for the most part comes with a very good pedigree. I mean, it went a little wobbly for a while, but we're back on track. And I said that here.
That's right. We accept. We accept.
I saw, the thing about Planet of the Apes was it really, for a long period of time, was my childhood. I mean, I was so obsessed after seeing that movie. And I don't know, as a kid seeing the movie, it's an interesting thing that the first thing you want to do is actually become one of those apes. It's so fascinating. And I was so, interested in that John Chambers makeup and seeing gorillas on horseback with guns. That's a pretty powerful image. And I had the dolls. I had an 8mm reel of Beneath the Planet of the Apes, which I would watch until all the sprockets broke. I mean, I was obsessed. And the great thing about when I saw Rise, having been a lifelong fan, was that having always wanted to be an ape, when I saw that movie, I suddenly was an ape. And the reason was for a reason that I never would have suspected would ever be able to be done, which was that I had emotional identification with an ape. And that blew me away. I thought, oh my God, I can't believe that now I know what it is to feel that character's feelings, and in a way that actually the most human character in that story is Caesar and what Andy did. And I was so blown away by that, and I thought, wow, what's so exciting about Planet of the Apes is that, of course, the secret is, we're all saying, oh, it's all about how the animals become, get in charge. Well, we are the animals. And so the idea of doing a story about how the animals can get in charge, well, since that's what we are, the story's about us. And what I thought was so exciting about getting to get into this world was to explore really, it's a blockbuster, right? It's a big sort of giant effects movie, and it's a summer movie, but it's a very unique one in that it's about our nature. And to explore that from both sides and to extend the story and everything that they did in Rise was such an exciting thing for me. And that's really why I wanted to do it.
Let's move on to James.
Yeah, and my question's for Andy. With your first performance as Caesar, you received such a great groundswell of support and just recognition from the fans about the wonderful performance you gave, leading to this campaign, to get you nominations for various award shows. What was that like for you? And do you have any expectations moving forward that maybe that recognition will continue to grow for what you and others do?
I mean, I have to say, I've sort of unwittingly become a spokesperson for a sort of perceived discrimination between actors who act in motion capture suits or in costumes with makeup, and it's not a position I've just sort of ended up in this rather weird position, and I shouldn't be, because in actual fact, performance capture is just a technology, it's another bunch of cameras filming an actor's performance. And I think really that the most important thing is that the perception is that needs to be understood. So regardless of any awards or accolades, it's really an understanding not just from within our own acting community, but also within the filmmaking community at large. And then actually the people who know most about it are the audience. They seem to be so aware, and the younger generation of actors or younger generation of people who've grown up with knowing how to be, who become avatars through video games, they have no problem understanding you can become something else, sitting at home doing that. So I really don't. You know, I would say I've never distinguished between, you know, when I've played lots of different roles, whether they be live action or performance capture, and Gary's done the same. You know, you don't alter your performance because you're using a different camera to film you. That's I suppose that's what I feel. What do you think, Gary?
You put it very well. I mean, the question is the question that's often asked is, what's it like working with Andy Serkis as the ape? And you're better to answer that because you have all the big scenes with them. But I come to work and I get into a costume, and Andy comes to work and gets into a costume, and so it's, you know, at least you can see his face, and you can see the eyes, and you see the emotion. I would actually rather that than you. If you were wearing a mask, then the question might be, well, what's it like working with someone who's behind a mask? But you're not. You're like, you know. I mean, but you did the. I mean, you're the.
No, it's
yourself.
Andy. It's, you know, that's what the great thing is. It's not anything other than a really talented actor. You know, I'm seeing Andy's eyes and hearing his voice and hearing him talk about his family, and that's exactly the same as any other scene.
And it's not, and also in this film, there's brilliant performances across the board from a load of talented actors playing apes as well. It's an ensemble piece, and on the human side as well. So it's you know, I don't see. I mean, it's interesting going back to the question about the original Planet of the Apes, and there are all those sort of wonderful stories of, well, the orangutan sat at one table and the chimpanzee sat at another table at dinner time, you know, and nobody ever talked to each other, and you know, we certainly don't have that situation. You know, the actors are the actors.
But that's where I drew the line.
They would never eat together. That was weird.
That was clear. That was very clear with you.
Lunchtime.
No,
It was
no
okay.
animals.
The thing about it was, for me, was I'd never done motion capture, and my main interest really in being a director, I mean, I love telling stories, but the thing that's the most important to me is that world with the actors, and getting to work with these people was such an incredible experience, and I thank you for that. But the thing about it that I was worried about was, because I didn't know, other than seeing Andy's work as it had been translated already, I knew that those performances were captivating, and I knew that I had been deeply affected by Caesar, but I was like, I guess even I didn't quite understand it, and so I said, you know, it's amazing what they're doing, but I need to understand it more. So at the beginning, actually, what I did was I said, I want to see every shot that Andy did as Andy, and then I want you to show me Caesar. And what blew me away about it was that Andy was better than Caesar. And I was so emotionally affected by what he did, and I was saying to Weta, wow, it's amazing that you're able to translate as much as what he did, and I would love in this film if we could translate even more, because it's just, at the end of the day, it was such a relief. I thought, oh, so the way it works is you work with a brilliant actor. And that's the secret of mocap, which it really shouldn't be a secret. It's just you're capturing motion. The genius of what Weta does is faithfully turning that into something. Now, what's crazy is that Caesar's anatomy is not Andy's anatomy. So how are they doing that? And it's all about, now I found out after spending all of this time with them, what details they're trying to take from Andy's face and how his mouth is a different shape. It's very weird. Sometimes I go, well, Andy didn't do that. I go, well, Andy's not an ape. So it's a very interesting process, but at the end of the day, the heart of the story and the heart of everything we're doing all comes down to these guys. And it all comes down to performances that have the kind of emotional authenticity that you can get working with great actors, and that's what Andy is, that's what Keri is, that's what Keri is. So, to me, as a director, there's no greater pleasure than being able to just basically sit back and watch them.